Sandcastle Bay, Chapter 20. Boone had given Pete a long holiday break to spend with the new woman in his life in New York. The fact that, his top executive was actually excited about seeing the annual Macy's Thanksgiving parade in person had come as a shock. You're just a kid at heart, after all, Boone had teased him. Pete had responded with an expletive that was definitely not very childlike. Now, with Pete out of town, Boone had to deal with the calls coming in from various contacts in Charleston as they moved forward on opening their fourth restaurant, hopefully by spring. I really need you down here as soon as possible to sign the papers if you want that location you liked in the historic district, his realtor announced when Boone returned his call. There's another bidder, but the owner's eating at your restaurant, and he liked your plans. He wants to get the deal in place now before his people start insisting on taking the higher offer. You do realize this is Thanksgiving week, Boone said. How about next Monday? How about Friday? Cadwell Marshall countered. Nobody works on the day after Thanksgiving, Boone protested. Sorry, he insisted it be by the end of the week. Even Friday's pushing it. I think he was hoping for Wednesday. Boone sighed heavily. I'll try to make it work. I'll get back to you before the end of the day. He hung up and called Emily. How would you like to take a trip to Charleston on Friday? He asked when she answered. It's a very romantic city, she responded cautiously. Are you suggesting a private trial, just the two of us? I wish, he said, and explained what had come up. I can't call Pete back from New York to handle this, so it's up to me. Then you have to go. Not without you, he replied flatly. I am not going to lose a whole day with you for business. Our time together is limited enough as it is. While it's very nice to know that I'm so high on your priority list, she said, things like this are going to come up for both of us. We're going to have to be flexible. So be flexible, he encouraged her. Come with me. BJ too? I could leave him with Jody, he said, though he didn't even try to hide his hesitation. Only heaven knows what she'd make of it, Emily concluded. Samantha will be here. He could stay with her and Cora Jane, I'm sure. Boone considered that option, but dismissed it as well. It's his school vacation. I want to spend time with him too. And you know he'll be over the moon to have a whole day with you. Then we'll all go, she said. He and I can wander around and sightsee while you do your business. I'll take you out for a great meal afterward, he promised, relieved that she agreed to this. On the day after Thanksgiving, she said with a laugh, a couple of letters, leaves will probably be all I can stuff down. You know how Cora Jane overdoes it. Then we'll play the mill by ear, he compromised. Thank you for going along with this. I know it's not what you had in mind for your Thanksgiving break. Hey, give and take what life is all about, or so I'm told. And I'll be with you. What's the downside of that? Any good at give and take? He asked. Because I have to tell you, I'm a work in progress on that front. Me too. Well, so far, you'll get an A plus in my book. Watch out. I may have to come up with a test of my own to see how you score. Whatever it takes to make this work, he said readily. See you in a few days. Love you. Love you back. He was smiling when he hung up. Crisis averted, and as a bonus, he just negotiated for an entire day with Emily, far from Jody's prying eyes. Because of the necessity for secrecy surrounding the location of the safe house, there was no media invited to the grand opening. Only members of the board, key contractors, and Emily were there, as the first women moved in with their children. Sophie had assigned Emily to show them to their rooms and explain about the amenities the house offered. The first woman, whose name was Lisa, regarded Emily with understandable caution as they climbed the steps to the second floor. Her two girls, who were so thin it was hard to tell their ages, looked to be no more than 6 and 8, thought it was possible they were older. Their eyes held a world weary exhaustion no child should ever know. They hung back behind their mother as they climbed the stairs and avoided making eye contact. Emily didn't like thinking about the kind of life that had made them so timid and fearful. Emily opened the door to their room, which had been painted a buttery yellow, trimmed in white. Sunshine poured through the windows and splashed across the polished wood floor. Though it was a little tight, Emily had managed to fit a full-sized bed in the room, just right for cuddling, she thought. She also squeezed in a small dresser, bunk beds, and a comfortable chair. She held her breath as they saw it for the first time. This is for us, the youngest one exclaimed, her eyes wide. The whole room? It looks brand new, her sister said. It is, Emily confirmed. Every single thing in here is new. She glanced at the mother and saw tears welling up in the woman's eyes. I hope you'll be comfortable here. As tears spilled over, dampening her cheeks, the woman said, You can't know. She blinked and tried again. You can't possibly know what this means to us. Until that moment, Emily hadn't realized. Not really. Seeing the relief on the mother's face, the excitement in her children's eyes, she felt the kind of gut deep satisfaction that could only come from doing something special for people who truly deserved it. For this family to be so thrilled with a small room of their own with simple furnishings, she knew they must have survived on so little before. Choked up herself, she managed to say, Girls, would you like to take a look upstairs? There are desks and lockers to store your books. You can study up there if you have homework from school. Predictably, both girls made faces that had Emily laughing. Then how about we go back downstairs and you can take a look at the playroom? Would that be more to your liking? Yes, please, the older girl said politely. An honest to goodness playroom? The mother breathed as if she couldn't quite believe it. Emily nodded. We tried to think of everything that would make it comfortable. If there's anything we didn't think of, though, please be sure to let us know. For the first time, a smile teased at the woman's lips. If you understood where we've been and even half of what we've been through, you'd know that bare walls and a blanket on the floor would be 1,000 times better as long as we're safe. This is heaven. To Emily's surprise, the woman embraced her in a hug. Thank you. I'm just a designer. The people you really need to thank are downstairs. Believe me, I'll be thanking them every day of my life. And once I get on my feet and I can provide a safe place for myself and my kids, I will come back here and return the favor. I promised you that. The whole day was like that, with women who had so little showing boundless gratitude for what was being provided and promising to give back when they could. By the end of the day, they already worked out a rotation among themselves for cooking and child care. The experience left Emily with a full heart. She could barely wait to get to Sandcastle Bay to share everything that had happened today with Boone. This, she thought as she flew across the country, was what she'd been meant to do. Emily pounded on Gabby's door to note Advil. Either her sister had gone to grandmother's for the holiday, was off somewhere with friends, or, and this was what Emily feared, was hiding out. She called Cora James first. It was Samantha who picked up. Any sign of Gabby over there? She asked Samantha. Nope. Grandmother said Gabby insisted she had other things to do. Well, she's not home, or at least she's not answering the door, Emily reported. Did you look in the garage? Is her car there? Walking with her cell phone in hand, Emily crossed the small patch of lawn in front of the brick townhouse and tried to get a glimpse inside the garage, but the windows were too high. I can't tell, she said in frustration. Maybe I should call Dad. It's possible she's spoken to him. Afraid not, Samantha said. He arrived here an hour ago. He said he hasn't talked to her for a couple of weeks. Off with the boyfriend? Emily speculated. I suppose that's possible, Samantha said. But I don't like this, Elm. Neither do I, Emily admitted. If she was spending the holiday with that man, don't you think she'd have been so excited she'd have mentioned it? Absolutely, Emily agreed. Well, if she doesn't call at some point today to wish us all a happy Thanksgiving, then I say we need to go back tomorrow and do a thorough search for her, Samantha said. I'm really worried. Emily thought of her plans with Boone for tomorrow. If they had to be sacrificed in order to make sure her sister was okay, well, that's just the way it had to be. I'm taking off from here now, she told Samantha. See you later. Don't you dare eat all the turkey before I get there. Trust me, bird won't come out of the oven until you and Boone are on the premises, even though Dad's already grumbling about needing to leave to get back to Ralphie. Grandmother's dug in her heels this time. Emily laughed. Good for her. Once in a while, it's good for Dad to discover that the whole world doesn't revolve around him. After she disconnected the call, Emily walked around the townhouse one last time, looking for signs of life, but it appeared eerily quiet. She was tempted to knock on a couple of the neighbors' doors, but knew Gabby would never forgive her for staring up tall. She also admitted more than once that she barely even knew the people who lived around her. With the hours Gabby worked, she never saw them. Emily fretted over her sister's whereabouts and her odd behavior all during the drive to Cora James. She was convinced it had something to do with this man none of them had met, but with Gabby determinedly mum on that subject, she couldn't prove it. At least worrying about her sister kept her from analyzing her situation with Boone to death. She knew as they got closer and closer, the complications were going to get increasingly difficult to resolve. She didn't think he saw that. He seemed to be living in some dream world in which love conquered all, or in which she gave up everything to be with him. She wasn't sure which. Either way, it threatened to be a problem. When she finally pulled into the driveway at her grandmother's, she saw that Boone and BJ had just arrived as well. Unaware that she was there, BJ was already racing toward the house. Boone, however, spotted her and crossed the lawn to meet her. Good timing, he said, pulling her into his arms and kissing her. Here? Now? She said, startled. He grinned. Lost my head, he said. Are you complaining? No, but I think you might have some explaining to do, she said, gesturing behind him. Boone turned around to see BJ standing there, a puzzled expression on his face. Hey, buddy, look who's here, Boone called out, his too cheerful tone a sign of his nervousness. Rather than running to meet them, BJ remained where he was. Oh boy, Boone muttered under his breath. He took Emily's hand. Let's go face the music. Hey, BJ, don't I get a hug? Emily asked. After a moment's hold on, excuse me. After a moment's hesitation, BJ flew into her arms. When he released her, though, he gave his father a quizzical look. Dad, how come you were kissing Emily? For the same reason you just hugged her, Boone said. I'm happy to see her. You were happy to see Aunt Cheryl the other day, but you didn't kiss her like that. BJ said, proving once more that he took in everything. Emily had to swallow a chuckle at Boone's blushing reaction. Yeah, Boone, why didn't you kiss Aunt Cheryl like that? And who, by the way, is Aunt Cheryl? She was my mom's friend, not a real aunt. BJ chimed in helpfully. She doesn't live here anymore, but she came home for Thanksgiving. Emily lifted a brow. Is that so? And she's married to an ex football player who's built like a truck, and she has 5 children, Boone supplied. And that is why I didn't kiss her the way I just kissed Emily. Yeah, I guess Uncle Dave wouldn't like it, huh? BJ said. No, he wouldn't, Boone confirmed. Any other questions? Emily and Boone waited as BJ's expression turned thoughtful. You used to kiss mommy like that? BJ said, his tone wistful. Boone sighed and hunkered down in front of him. Yes, I did, he said softly, because your mom was the most important woman in my life for a very long time. Does that mean Emily's important now? BJ asked. Boone glanced up at Emily, then nodded, looking his son in the eyes. It does. Is that okay with you? Is she going to live with us? BJ asked. Maybe someday, Boone told him. But right now we're really good friends. BJ seemed to absorb that news, nodded eventually. I'm hungry. Let's go eat. Yes, let's go eat, Boone said eagerly. Go on in and let Miss Cora Jane know we're here. Oh, she knows, BJ said. She's been watching out the window. Of course she was, Emily thought, barely containing a laugh. If they thought BJ's cross examination had been awkward, it was probably nothing compared to what was in store. Boone watched closely as Sam Castle greeted Emily as if she were a business colleague rather than his youngest daughter. His hug was superficial, his words little more than an expected hello. How are you? Gabby's response, Emily's response was just as restrained, though Boone thought he saw the longing in her eyes for more. The hug she received from Jerry was far more exuberating and heartfelt. Surely Sam Castle had to see that and recognize what genuine affection looked like. Mother, can we eat now? Sam asked with a touch of impatience. Or are we waiting for Gabriella, too? Gabby won't be here, Cora Jane said. It might be nice, though, if we have Emily and Boone a minute to have a glass of wine and an appetizer before we rush them in to the meal. Emily gave her grandmother's hand a squeeze. It's okay. I know Dad wants to get back home. He gets palpitations or something if he's away from work too long. Cora Jane didn't seem impressed. She scowled at her son. This is Thanksgiving, a time for family to be together and to count our blessings. It is not a day to rush through a meal on a time clock. To Boone's surprise, Sam looked vaguely shaken by the criticism. Sorry, Mother. Samantha and Emily exchanged a stunned look that Boone interpreted to mean his apology had to be a first. Just then, the phone rang and Cora Jane reached for it at once, her eyes filled with worry. Gabby, is that you? Boone glanced at Emily, who appeared to be hanging on every word of her grandmother's end of the conversation. She held out her hand. Let me speak to her, she commanded. Cora Jane waved her off. Your sisters are here. They send their love. We all missed you. And I expect you here for Christmas. No excuses. Is that understood? Boone gave Emily a quizzical look. What's going on with Gabby? We have no idea, but Samantha and I are convinced something is. I stopped by her place before driving over here, and there was no sign of her. She didn't offer any real explanation for not being with us today, at least not to Miss Samantha or me. Cora Jane disconnected the call just then. Well, she told me she had to be at work first thing tomorrow, so the drive over here for the day just didn't make a lot of sense. Then she is at home, Emily said. Why didn't she come to the door when I knocked? I didn't question her about where she was spending the day, Cora Jane said. She's a grown woman. I assume she's with friends. Gabby doesn't have friends, Samantha said. She has co-workers. I don't think they're close. Like somebody I know, Emily said with a pointed look at her father. Boone saw the scene deteriorating rapidly. Apparently Jerry did too because he stood up. Cora Jane, let's get that turkey on the table. You've outdone yourself this year. We don't want the meal spoiled. Good idea, she said at once, following him into the kitchen. Let us help, Boone said. Emily and Samantha were on his heels. We'll all help, Emily said. The only person who hung back was Sam Castle. Boone saw the lost expression on his face and almost felt sorry for him. Whatever his reasons for distancing himself from his family over the years, he had a hunch Sam had come to regret it but had no idea how to go about fixing it. Since Boone had the same sort of dysfunctional relationship with his parents, he recognized the signs. Give your father something to do, Boone encouraged Emily, nodding in her father's direction. She seemed startled by the suggestion, but after taking a look at her father, she apparently saw what Boone had seen. Dad, come on. Nobody gets to eat without helping to get everything onto the table. For an instant, Sam looked startled, but then his lips curved slightly. I'll carry the mashed potatoes and gravy, he offered. That is, if you trust me not to make off with them. It's my favorite part of the meal. Cora Jane gave him a startled look. I never knew that. Sam actually winked at her. See, even at your age and as wise as you are, you haven't learned all there is to know about me. After an instant of stunned silence, Cora Jane chuckled. And that's another thing I've forgotten. You actually do have a sense of humor. I'll try to show some evidence of it more often, Sam promised. When the moment had passed, Boone claimed the bowl of stuffing. This is mine, he announced, heading for the dining room. I can carry the cranberry sauce, BJ offered. The turkey was left to Jerry, who brought the golden bird to the table and presented it as if it were the crown jewels. My best ever, Cora Jane standing at Jerry's elbow. If I do say so myself. Hey, I had a little bit to do with it, he grumbled. I was the one in there basting it, with me looking over your shoulder to make sure you did it right, Cora Jane retorted. Other than that, you lifted the turkey off the counter, put it in the oven, then took it out at the end. And if I hadn't, it would have been on the floor, he insisted, giving them a wink. She gave him an indulgent look. That's what you think. The man is starting to think he's indispensable to me. I know I am, he corrected. Excuse me. Boone watched as Sam took in exchange with dawning understanding. He waited to see if he would comment, but he didn't. There was no denying, though, the smile that settled on his lips. Cora Jane just shook her head. Okay, enough of this. Let's take our places, thank the Lord for our blessings, and enjoy sharing this meal together. During the prayer, Boone glanced around the table and realized it was the first time all day he truly felt like part of a family. The meal he shared earlier at Jody's had been tense,